Well met, adventurers. Wait, do they talk like that when you're Vikings? Today on, I'm not gonna do it just because I'm not gonna do it, Jake.
What's that? I can't hear you, Paul. I have you on mute for the first 60 seconds of every episode now. And that is why.
So today, we're going to be talking about the game of the month, the game of the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? It's the game that everybody's been playing, and especially me, because apparently I have 128 hours, one hour for every bit of, I don't know, this isn't 128, but we're going to talk about Valheim, and today I have with me Sick Jake, of course.
A game I actually like? What are the odds?
Yeah. I'm sure we can make you find a way to complain about it.
Oh, I have a few. Don't worry.
Yeah. But we're also brought back a friend of ours. We have the Dave from the Tadpog.
Hail and well met, friends. We're Vikings.
Dave, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man. How are you?
Great. We wanted to get you in on this because you've kind of taken us under your wing, so to speak. It was great having you on last time. It was a laugh, and fellow podcaster, of course. But also because we've been playing the hell out of Valheim, and I'd say out of the 128 hours that I have playing Valheim, I'd say 120 of it is probably on your server for Tadpog, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, which, I mean, I had absolutely nothing to do with. Mitch, one of our listeners, set that all up, and it was just like, I remember when Mitch was, like, talking about Valheim, and he was all like, I mean, he was, like, really talking about it, and I remember reading the things he was saying, and I remember being like, oh, God, no, I can't do a thing, and then, like, he kept it up, and then I started watching some videos about it and like watching some gameplay, and I was like, okay, all right. And then he started up a server, and it's like, okay, it's done.
I remember seeing it because in your Discord, he was just constantly talking about it. So I was like, okay, this guy's liking it. That's cool. And I saw a few friends streaming it, and I was like, okay, it looks all right. And then someone told me, like, what are you doing? How do you play it? And stuff like that. I was like, I guess it. I don't get the hype, and then next thing you know, everybody's talking about it.
Yep, it blew up.
Yeah, but I think Mitch was the biggest reason because he just was constantly at it.
Yeah, man. I feel like maybe I'm so far behind the curve that I do not know, but I feel like he was way ahead of the curve because it's like I feel like he was talking about it like weeks before it blew up, and it's like, wow, all right.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I thought it was just like, oh, not another Rust. I'm not interested. But then when I saw people playing it, like, this is, what, Minecraft plus Vikings? Come on, sign me up.
So I never played Rust. Is it like so physics based? Like, cause like Valheim is like so heavily based on like the physics. I feel like of like, cause I mean, like, can trees fall on you and kill you in Rust? Like,
Oh, I can't even remember. I only played it for, I think, 30 minutes, and I said it wasn't for me.
oh wow.
I just remember it's more gritty, more like savage, very very little in the way of weapons early on, and you really start with nothing. Whereas Valheim is a lot more accessible.
There's
Interesting.
a lot more dongs, is the best way to put it, for Rust.
A lot more dongs.
Yeah, there's a lot more dongs.
Raise up your dongers.
Yeah. One thing about Rust is you start random, and I think the only thing you can choose. No, I don't even think you can choose your gender. I think because it's randomized for your race, so you could be Asian, you could be black, you could be white. I remember that.
Oh, so it's not like fantasy races. That's not what we're talking about.
No, it's like just straight up like human races.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's kind of cool actually because people were being racist assholes online, and instead of the devs actually doing something to fix it, the game base themselves started doing it. So if people were talking racist in chat
Uh-huh.
on a server, everyone just ganked them and basically ruined their experience completely. So that they'd be like,
Wow.
"This guy's a racist. Get
Get
him!"
Go
him.
get 'em.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
hilarious. I love that.
Yeah. So like instead of like say like on PUBG, there was always this big thing about like, oh, like all they had like that Chinese fan bases were known for cheating, so they were like, okay, trying to block them, region lock them, and stuff like that. And people were like, no, ban the cheaters and keep the Chinese guys on their own servers and crap like that. And so there's always like trying to get the devs to fix everything, and by the end of it, the devs didn't have to do anything in Rust because the player base just solved it for them.
Wow.
It's hilarious.
Wow.
So, but Rust is a lot more PvP based, and this is what appeals to me about Valheim is that it's more PvE. It feels like, okay, I got obsessed this time last year with Terraria. We got
Right.
locked down. We were playing Terraria, and it was like 6 of us that we were all taking turns. There's at least 4 of us on every night, and so that's what it's been like Terraria Part 2 for me.
Okay.
Because it's the same kind of thing. You find your stuff, you get a boss, you get like progression to the next area, next kind of era. You know, you go from like wooden tools to like bronze, then you go to iron and go from there. So it's kind of like stuck behind a boss, and that's what appealed to me. I think right away because I was like, I can do this. I understand how this works. This progression is simple, but it's slower paced than Terraria.
Now, for the 5 million people, outside the 5 million people who have played it, maybe explain a little bit what Valheim actually is. Because some people might not know.
You want to try, Dave?
Yeah, sure. Being a guy who like has played very little Minecraft or Terraria, I bounced off of Terraria hard, man. So it's like when people compare this game to Terraria, it's like, wow, maybe I just completely didn't understand Terraria, which is may totally be the case. But yeah, Valheim is essentially a survival crafting game. That's a 3D crafting game that takes place within Valheim of Norse mythology. And like you were saying, I mean, a lot of the crux of the game is crafting, and so it's like and progressing. It feels like every time you beat a boss in the game, you kind of enter a new era of technology. You start out with pretty much nothing, and then you enter like I guess the Stone Age, and then progress to like bronze after you kill a boss, and then iron after you kill a boss.
Yeah, when my daughter saw the game when I was playing it, the first thing she asked me is, "When do you get glass, like for Windows?" I'm like, "You don't, honey." Like, when do you get redstone? I'm like, "Honey, it's not that kind of game, okay? It's not the Minecraft. It's not." Because she's totally fascinated with Valheim. Because
Yeah.
she sees me playing it. Because I quit our Minecraft server because my kids kept wrecking my stuff. Daddy's on Valheim now, and yeah, I love its progression, but it's very straightforward. Like you said, there's multiple biomes of the game, and each one has its own boss. So that you kind of do them in order and kind of move up the tech tree. It's done in a very straightforward way. Something whereas Terraria was, for me, very confusing. I never knew what I was going to build or what was
Same.
higher than the other.
Same.
Yeah, but Valheim is a lot more straightforward.
Yeah, it's cool. And like one of my favorite things about the game is like, okay, so my big complaint and the reason I bounced off of Minecraft even because it's like it's crazy because Minecraft is this game that is like that a lot of people love and like especially kids, I feel like. So it's like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so kids are into it, so then it's probably got to be pretty easy to wrap your mind around, right? No, it's not because it's like I'm playing that game and I'm constantly like a kid is literally like my boss's kid is like, okay, build the blobbity bloop. And I'm like, how do you build a blobbity bloop? And I'm like going online and like typing in how to build blobbity bloop. And it's like,
Yeah, constantly having a wiki up.
yeah, like I got a wiki up in my other monitor, like to play Minecraft. And it's like what I love about Valheim is like I don't have to do that because when I pick an item, like when I pick like a stone up in Valheim for the first time, these recipes just appear like on screen. They're
Yep.
like, hey man, you can build all this shit now because you found the stone. And it's like, oh, okay. So now these are the recipes. And the recipes show up when I, activate my workbench. And it's like, oh, this is great. I can play this with one monitor.
Yeah, which is key. I mean, Terraria I loved, but man, I had let's put it this way, I made an account for the wiki just so I could have it in dark mode because I was using it that much.
Oh, wow.
And it's a great game, but like there's a serious element missing when it comes to how do I do this, how do I do that. It's basically look it up. This game is a little bit more straightforward. You have the Raven. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Huggin and Munnin or Hugin
Master
and
Higgins,
Hugin.
of course.
Master Higgins, yeah. So you got the giant Raven, Master Higgins, always flies down to give you pointers whenever you like start off something new. Whether it's you've got wood for the first time, so it tells you how to make a tool, or you have a crafting bench, now you can do this, how to build. The building is really, it takes some getting used to, but once you get into it, it's just like, okay. But that snap to and stuff like that for when you're actually trying to build anything, really, it's really hard to get used to, but once you got it, you got it.
Yeah, when I first started playing, I was using a controller, and none of that made sense at all. And then Sal's like, "Yeah, you're using a controller." So like, I switched to mouse and keyboard, and it's infinitely better to build things with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like Terraria in the same way, is that Terraria looks like a game you could play with a controller, but I really suggest mouse and keyboard because there's so much going on. So
yeah, I agree. For the progression, the only thing I kind of don't like, at least so far, is the brass, where you have to get copper and tin and then smelt it together to get brass.
Oh, the bronze.
Or bronze, sorry. Yeah, brass. And it seems like a lot of material.
Yep.
Yeah. If you think that's bad, when you try to get to the iron, on our server it was bad because we had to go, it was me, Dave, Mitch, who started the server, and Zelnop, at least 4 of us. We'll go into a crypt and we'll get like six stacks worth of iron or 8 stacks worth of iron or something, fill it up on a boat and ship it back because you can't go through portals or anything with metal. So you're doing that. So we're making these giant treks to get iron because we can't do them on our continent that we're started on. And then we come back and then we have to split it up like 4 ways. So it just felt like we weren't getting anywhere. So it's kind of crazy. But every time you do something, it's an adventure. And I think that's what makes it so fun for me is you can take it easy. Like Jake's been playing with us, and Jake just has this penchant for building. He doesn't go out trying to go on an adventure, getting lost in the woods and stuff like that. He's just been building. And meanwhile, we're just like, oh, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Don't mistake my building for like peace. No, that's more about salty rage and holding a grudge because I built the first place I built was right on the water. Little I know, because there are events later in the game, and trolls can spawn and attack your village. And I'll be damned if those son of bitches don't spawn in the water right next to where my house was. So I actually logged onto a server, and it was just sparkles all around me. My house was gone. And like I pinged the Tadpog Discord, like, what happened to my house? And somebody's like, yeah, trolls were here. I had to run away. It's like, well, damn. So I rebuilt my house with a moat the second time around.
Yeah, he built a serious moat.
Did it work?
Well, you know what? The trolls haven't come back, I guess, or they haven't really got very far. Yeah, it must have worked. It's like this tiger rock. It keeps the tigers away. It's a troll moat.
I want to buy your rock.
I will say though, I think it was Drew, and somebody else as well told me the same thing. To get to my house over the moat, I have a bridge, but to keep the Grey Dwarves and other mobs that walk out, there's a gap, so you have to jump across my bridge. But it's covered, and if it's dark out, and if you forget, you totally fall down that gap and die in the bottom of my moat. So I've had more than a few players die because I've died too in the damn hole.
Yeah, there's serious fall damage in that game.
It's brutal.
It's like so this is one where you could like die like 6 times because this moat is that deep.
At least it's easy to get your body back, though.
You
Yeah.
mentioning the trolls, like it's really important that like to anyone who hasn't played Valheim, like the trolls are huge in this game, and like
They're
and
massive.
and then it's like the videos of the trolls that I saw is really what drew me to this game because I was like, there's this regular enemy in the game that you meet early on that is literally taller than the trees and literally swings tree trunks as a weapon and throws boulders
Yep.
as a weapon. And it's like, okay, this seems pretty freaking cool. I want in on this.
Those guys are like, for argument's sake, just say you're like a 6 foot tall Viking because you look kind of tall. These guys are like what, like 20 feet tall, if
Gotta
not more.
Yeah, gotta be.
20, 30
Yeah.
feet. Yeah, they're surprisingly sneaky. They scare the shit out of me all the time.
For sure. And it's like you meet them so early on in the game, too, where it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm out here trying to kill deer with my bare hands in order to build, like, anything. And it's like, meanwhile, this enormous blue troll is throwing boulders at me. And it's like, what?
I felt so bad early on the server because I saw online in videos, I was at the assumption that if something attacking you, run inside a house and they leave you alone. So I was out on the outer fringe of our town at the time, grabbing trees, and a troll sneaks up on me, and I'm running. So I run into the closest house, which ended up being Pulch's house, who for some reason built it near the mountain there. And
I didn't know. Okay.
okay, well, I saw the troll peeking in through the window of your house, and then wham, a quarter of the house is gone, and I'm like, oh shit, and then wham, the other half of it's gone.
Yeah.
Book it to try and escape. Meanwhile, half your house is gone. I feel so terrible that half your house is gone, and it's still half gone to this day. You never
Yeah.
know what's fixed it.
Yeah, we now call that the amphitheater now because like one end of it has been destroyed by the trolls and like almost perfectly. So it looks like the stage for like a concert that you'd see outside, but small. I got fed up with it. I was getting my ass handed to me every time I walked out. There were like shaman,
Oh,
and a
yeah.
bunch of gray dwarves. So I built one like south of Dave just for spite. And I was like, I'll come back here when I'm stronger. Then I realized how much I was spawning this crap, and I was like, no. So by the time Jake got my house ruined, I was like, you know what? Thank you. You justified me building my own house over here.
Well, your new house is infinitely better anyway.
Oh, guys, my house is like a hovel. It is like ridiculous compared to like all the other houses that I've seen where it's just like, I've discovered that I am not a house building guy in video games because it is straight up just like, do I have a furnace? Yeah, cool. Do I have like everything I need? I do. But I do not have a lot of space. I cram it all in literally like a garden shed. Because I just want to go out and kill stuff and it's weird. I just want to go mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's so easy to get distracted in that game for me because I'm just like, oh, I got to do this. I need to get this. I need to get that. So like the progression for me has been super slow and I like it because I'm just like,
Oh God, same.
I'm just like, I need raspberries. So I'll take like one night, not like one night in game, but like one night of playtime. So like 8 hours. And I'm just like, I'm going to go, this is going to be like me getting food.
Yep.
This is going to be me doing this and that. It's just been that kind of thing where it's a time sink. Jake was like, this is a total time sink. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I want. This is amazing.
Like I wanted to redo my windows, and it's just like, well, now it's 3 a.m.
Yep.
There's that time.
Yeah, there was a night where we were playing and Jake, I think it was you who mentioned the time. And I was like, oh man, why'd you do that? Because it's like I was completely like, and it was like it was early in the morning, and it was like, damn it, now I have to go to bed because I'm aware of the time. Because yeah, it's like a casino. It is like you get into the game, and it's just like, poof, 5 hours are gone.
It's like there's productivity the next day at work for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just all these little things that just make it addictive. It's been hard to walk away. Like I would get up and I'm like, I gotta log in. I wanna see what's going on. I want to see what everyone's done while I've been gone.
Yeah, and like yeah, for real, like you saying that, it's like playing on a server with other people has definitely been a motivator for me to continue to play because first of all, it's more fun to like go on adventures with
Yep.
people instead of like going by yourself. And like not only that, but like it's been really cool because it's kind of felt like I use this metaphor like a lot and maybe overly so, but it like reminds me of being like a kid on the playground where it's like instead of me learning about a game like by looking things up online, I'm learning about the game by just talking with other people who are also playing the
Yeah.
game, and that's really really cool because that's rare for me, and I love it.
Zelnop's become our wiki essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And like speaking of Zalnop and like how I was talking about how like I live in a hovel where it's just the bare necessities just so I can go out and dick around. Like Zalnop's freaking got a castle, you guys. Like I don't know if you've seen it.
It's insane. Like it's absolutely batshit insane.
It's incredible. It's so incredible. And it's like, I make these jokes all the time about, like, oh, I got to log in so I can keep up with everybody. Cause it's like, Jake, I think it was you who first mentioned that, like, you know, you're going to miss a day and like wake up and then people are going to be like
Oh
in
yeah.
spaceships and stuff. And it's like, I love that because I get that, I know that feeling so well. And it's like, it's happening before my eyes because it's like Zaldov's living in a castle.
Be riding dragons tomorrow.
Right.
Well, it's funny because like the other night I wanted to catch up on the bosses because I knew guys were ahead of me. So I'm like, all right, who needs to do second boss? And Mitch said he wanted to do third boss, so I did both in one night. And then at the end of it, was we were picking up, the wishbone and the items. Somebody mentioned that, yeah, Paul's just got silver hammer already. And I'm like, fuck you, he's got a silver hammer. When has he been playing this game? How is he so far ahead?
That was, you know what? I can't even take credit for that one because that was just Mitch. Because Mitch had already beaten the third boss on like another server, so he's just like coming over with crazy gear and stuff.
Yeah,
and so it's almost like cheating, right?
yeah. But you know what? Though? It's not as bad as I thought it might be in terms of the gear progression. I can still have fun on the server doing anything and still feel like I can contribute, right?
Yeah.
Like we had Grim and Drew on the third boss battle, and they were totally under geared, but I think they were still doing great with the arrows and staying in the back, right? And we all still died anyway. That was the hilarious thing. So you can feel useful no matter what level you are.
And I think one thing about the progression that leads to that really works out well is a lot of the stuff, like you'll get better ores and stuff further you go. So again, you start out with the stone weapons, then you go to bronze, and then eventually iron. Like I'm trying to find iron and stuff, and it's one of those things. Like I said, we have to make adventures to go together to get iron because we can't do it ourselves. Like it's just so. It'll take you a week of playing just to try to get some stuff.
Mm-hmm. It'd be awful to do it by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
But another thing that you need is a lot of general things like leather scraps you'll get from killing boars, which is the first thing you basically kill for food, like meat-wise. You know, you can get meat, you can get berries, you can get other stuff. You can end up growing your own food with carrots and turnips. But meat is something you're going to go through all the time, and you get leather scraps as well. And even the most advanced stuff that we're into, we still need to use leather scraps and basic things like that. So there's always a use for just going out and killing stuff and hunting. And that's I think what's really cool is like Mitch is crazy ahead of us, like by 2 bosses or something like that, which is a huge thing. But at the same time, you can go in and still contribute and be like, hey, okay, yeah, no, we need this. And then someone can go off, picking berries or hunting boars or trying to find feathers from birds for arrows. So it's just like one of those things where, I don't know, it's just way too satisfying for me. So I had to be careful. I had to dial it back a little bit and make sure that I'm getting things done in my daily life so I can reward myself with this. Because otherwise it's, hey, 10, 12 hours. I got 128 hours logged into this game in the last, month?
I'm jealous.
So, I mean, that's...
I'm jealous. I've got rookie numbers. I've only got like 40 hours logged in this game. And I'm actually less... you guys are farther into the game than I am because I haven't fought the third boss. Like I'm just dicking around with bronze, and I mean, I I don't know. A lot of it's sometimes, like I said, like I'd like to late at night just log in and just go chop down some trees.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like like you said with the whole playground thing and learning from each other, I think another part of it is that sense of adventure you get with your friends,
For sure.
because like these things that you do, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go get some iron, I'm gonna go get this or that. They turn into adventures just for the fact it's like, okay, this is such a simple game, it's so laid back, until all of a sudden you need to go out to sea and there's like a sea serpent. You're like, oh shit. So like I wanted to bring up, because I asked in Dave's Discord, I was like, we gotta talk about some of the stories. And Mitch is like the god amongst all of us. Like he's always got all the crazy gear. Like he's got the best gear. He's got everything, anything that you can build, he's got, and it's all like maxed out. So it's like, Mitch, help, help, help. We're always trying to get him to help, and he's always like, I'm on my way, I'm coming to help you. The next thing you know, he's like two shot and stuff. But one time he was like, I need help, and he was making fun of me because he's like the different foods you get. You can like say boar meat. You can eat. You can eat necktails, which is just like these lizards. And I had like, was it necktails
Woo.
and something else? Yeah. And you're not the only person who's done that too. I've been playing with 3 different groups of people, and they all have done the ducktails, necktails thing. But Mitch is running around with like this crazy stuff, and the better the food you get, the more stamina you get, and the more health you get. Like, so your baseline is like 25 health,
Yeah.
and if you eat, say,
Sausages.
a thing of meat, yeah, sausages, it'll go up to like 60 something. You can have 3 different kind of foods, and so the 3 foods you have depends on how much stamina and health you have, and
Yeah.
it like gradually goes down, so you can't have to keep eating, but you'll never starve. So that's the
Right.
thing, there's no starvation bullshit to worry about. So Mitch has all these crazy things where his health is like pushing 200, and I'm like barely pushing 100, and he's like, man, this food sucks. And I won't let it go, because one day he just said, oh shit, I need some help, and I'm like, I'm coming with my shitty food, I'm coming to save you. And I had to save him because he tried to get his body back. So I'll never let that go. He's always just like, remember the time you had to save me? I was like, yeah. Do you remember the time I had to save you?
Man, I'm so glad you mentioned the food too, because it's like the stamina is like another really big aspect of the game. And it like reminded me how they were inspired by Breath of the Wild. And I feel like it totally comes through in the stamina, because I mean everything you do requires stamina.
Even building and stuff like that, you'll just see it go
Yeah,
just like
building,
slowly.
combat, running, jumping, swimming, and man, if you run out of stamina when you're swimming, you're gonna die. Yeah, you're dead.
Okay, speaking of swimming now, okay, so your stamina will go if you're treading, if you have like a basic skill of like, 5 or something, or not even that, like 3 or 4 for swimming, you can tread water and stay in place and your stamina won't go down. But every time you move, your stamina just goes. So, Dave, you want to tell him the story about in the boat?
Oh man, which story? The boat sinking?
The boat sinking, yeah.
We were like, so we were out on the ocean, and I can't remember what we were doing. We were going to get something. I think we might have been going to set up like a mustering point or something like that for the maybe the third boss. I can't remember. So we're sailing, and I don't know what the hell's going on, because it's like I've never sailed before really, and I mean I'm just kind of like messing around, and like okay, so John is there, and what I like, okay, so you were talking about the skills and how like skill up swimming essentially is like, I don't know if it works like this in like Rust and other games like that, because I haven't played those, but I'm like my analogy to it is Skyrim or like Elder Scrolls, because it's like,
Yeah, similar.
because like you'll do things and you'll skill up as you do things, and like for instance jumping, you can jump a whole bunch of times and then your jump skill will go up. So I'm obsessed with these skills, because they don't, as far as I know, I mean they do have in-game mechanics, but like I don't feel like they're super important. But for me, it's just like I want to get everything up to max. And it's like, so
Right.
unarmed is one of those skills. So I'm constantly like, if you come onto the server, you'll probably see me if like I'm waiting to do something, you'll see me like punching Zalnop or like somebody or like a tree or
That
rocks. I'm
counts.
just yeah, it'll raise your skill. So and as long as you're not flagged for PvP, it's you can just go to town. So like, and I'm to the point now where it's like I'm like trying to just punch gray dwarves and stuff to death just to like, just get my unarmed skill up. So we're out on this ship going to new territory for me, and John, one of our friends, John. Is coming with us, and he's just sitting there on the boat, and I just start punching him because it's like, let's get this unarmed skill up, y'all. And I'm punching him, and so he gets up and starts punching me back, and we're just punching the shit out of each other on this boat in the middle of the ocean. And then all of a sudden, the boat glitches out. What I see on my screen, I don't know what everyone else saw, but what I see on my screen is the boat literally just like drop through the water, like going like down quickly.
Just starts sinking, essentially, is what happened to me.
I mean, straight down, straight down. It's really weird, and like the water comes up over, and then the next thing I know, everybody who was on the boat except for Zalnop is just plunk in the middle of the ocean, treading water, doing like doggy paddle. And meanwhile, like I swear, you guys, like Zalnop was. I mean, he was probably like 4 minutes away. I don't know what happened other than John and I broke the game by punching each other in the boat.
See, I thought I broke it because I saw you guys fighting, and then I said, okay, and I saw Zelnop sitting near the front of the boat, so I just jumped up and started punching Zal in the back of the head, just psh, psh, psh. All of a sudden, I hear Zal just go, guys, guys. And the next thing you know, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it started, you just see like the ship sinking. You just see the water coming up over the deck. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, I thought like us horsing around on the boat damaged the boat and we started sinking.
Because you can do that. You can
Yeah,
destroy
yeah.
the boat. Like if you're not careful, yeah, you can totally destroy a boat while it's out on sea just by, using your weapons on it and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, instant pucker mode because we had a load of like iron. We had like 6 or 7 stacks of iron and shit. So we had like literally like over 2,000 pounds worth of stuff in this boat that we were trying to get home. And then,
Right.
yeah, again, by the time it popped back up, yeah, there's just like 5 of us in the water. We couldn't move. We're in the middle of the ocean. And if we move, we'll start drowning. So we're all basically like, I remember you said this on your stream, I was going to say. On your podcast, you were telling the story too, but I just love the story. It's hilarious. We're all just floating like logs in the water, and then Zelnop had to literally steer the ship around and come pick us up and basically come within like 10 feet so we could swim because we couldn't swim more than 10 feet without drowning.
Without starting to drown. And like what's wild is like, because like I had just seen like a sea serpent, for like the first time. So I'm like, oh God, we're just like just sitting here waiting to be eaten by a sea serpent. Like, like we're literally just sitting ducks. Like we're dead. And then yeah, finally, like, I mean, Zal had to travel a crazy distance, I feel like, to get to us, but he saved us.
Yeah. So, it's been amazing. We do just random stupid shit like that. So it's just so much fun. We spent like a week in game trying to tame a lox.
That's the bantha things, right? The big woolly things.
Man.
Yeah, they literally look like giant banthas from the Star Wars. And it's hilarious because Zal and I went to tame it, so we were like poking at it basically. He had like a harpoon kind of thing and he was trying to haul it towards us. Meanwhile, I was trying to like goad it into attacking us so it would follow us. Dave was back at the base with John and they were trying to build this giant like arena.
A paddock.
Yeah, just to try to get it in there. And it took us about a week in game. So what, like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something we probably
like that.
spent at
Yeah.
this. And we barely got it by the end of it. And it was just like, how much did we benefit from this? Well, we got locks and we tamed it so we can stand on top of it.
Pose for pictures like pandas at a zoo.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. Like, we called it Loxy. We call it Lox McLeod. We call it Loxy Brown. We had like 6 different names for it. And what do you do with it? Nothing. We're just proud of it because it was just this another stupid adventure that we did. It's amazing.
And like, what's wild is like, and super important is that thing could one shot pretty much any of us.
Is it that bad?
Well, it
Crap.
was. Yeah, it hits real hard. It killed John because like John was just hanging out in another room, like he connected to the paddock, and like the locks killed him through a wall because it like did a stomp attack like outside of the wall, and it just like instantly killed him.
That's the plains biome, right? And it's
That was terrifying. It's
Yeah.
You'd think it'd be like the meadows, super calm. That's where you start.
Yeah.
And it goes to like the Black Forest. Then it goes to the swamp. Then it goes to the mountains. Then it goes to the plains. And the plains are terrifying. The swamp is terrifying. The mountains are terrifying. But you'd think the plains would be like, oh, we're going to get a break. Nope. Wrong. It's just like death mosquitoes that, like these mosquitoes that are like the size of your torso, but they're hard to hit, and they can pretty much 2-shot you.
they're not even
And
that big, and it's one shot. So I have something to say about those goddamn bugs. So I heard that the bantha things, the locks, you can get a cape, which helps in the mountain biome with the freezing debuff, right? So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm so clever. Tricks are for kids, but locks is for Jake. I'm gonna like skip progression. I'm gonna skip the swamp and the mountains. I'm just going straight to the plains, set up a little base, and start working on those banthas to get that really.
Sequence break.
Yeah, I made a boat. I took all my resources, all my iron, and I made a long ship. And I sailed all the way around our town to get to it because we've kind of been close considering. But I followed the trail that you guys left because I found your guys' outposts from earlier adventures. And I was repairing my boat at all those stops. I was maybe 60 minutes of sailing, right? And I find this perfect spot of the plains. And it's right next to the dark forest too. So I'm like, oh, it's great. As I'm pulling up to land, I see a little bug in the distance, or I thought it was a distance, but it's small. It flew up to me on my ship and just one-shotted me. Dead.
No.
Okay, 60 minutes of sailing. You think I had materials for a portal or built a bed? No. So, got upset, built my other longship with the absolute scraps I had left, and I sailed back around 60 minutes to come get back and get my body. And I got to that mosquito, got close to it. I saw it. He was hovering over my first ship, over my body. Okay. I pull the ship up again, and I'm fumbling for arrows to try and shoot an arrow at it, and it gone. One shot. Again.
Oh.
2 corpses of Jake by this one mosquito. I built a raft. I spent 90 minutes sailing the raft. I didn't even get close. I got about halfway, and I got ambushed by a sea serpent who destroyed the crap out of my raft and just one-shot me afterwards.
Oh, God.
Finally, I got pissed off. Friend of mine, I was complaining to my friend of mine from work about the game. And he's like, yeah, just come on my server for a few minutes. I'll give you some gear. I hop in a server, and he's like done with the game. He already has the linen armor, which surprisingly is the best in the game.
Huh.
He gave me a full set of linen armor, and I said I would give back. I go back. I build another longship. I pull up to the goddamn mosquito, who's still hovering in that same area, or he comes back.
It's your
Right?
spirit animal.
Seriously, not only did the thing come and attack my boat, it destroyed my longship because I had taken some damage. It destroyed my boat, and then it killed me in the best armor in the game in like 2 hits.
No.
Yeah, so
No.
I was so pissed off. I almost quit the game after dying like 3-4 times this freaking mosquito.
God.
Eventually, I made a base nearby because there was stuff there. And Zal was on, and he's like, "You mean there's like a free longship out there?" I'm like, "Yeah, if you want." So he went and reclaimed my longship, which has been there for like 12 hours. It's pretty funny. Those things are the worst.
Wow. That's an amazing story. I didn't know that happened to you. That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's amazing as well.
Well, it's
Yeah,
the plains
yeah.
is a brutal biome. Like I can't believe that's
yeah.
the end game right now.
Yikes. Yeah, because and I'm glad you said right now because we haven't mentioned that this game is early access.
Right.
Which is nuts
Right.
because it feels like
Yeah.
I'm 40 hours into it, y'all. And it's early
Yeah.
access and I've only killed 2 of the bosses. How many bosses are live now? Or is it like 5?
5,
I
yeah.
think there's 5, yeah.
And there's like 3 biomes in the game already, but they're not fleshed out yet. And I think they have another one coming as well. It's insane the amount of
Yeah.
content that's already here for $20.
Yeah,
I can't believe this game.
and it's done by like 5 guys, right?
Yeah, it's 5 people. 5 million
Wow.
copies sold. 5 people made it.
That's $1 million per person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or well, no, I don't. I'm bad at math. It's not $1. It's not $1. The game is not $1, you guys. Sorry. Sorry to get everyone's hopes up.
It's crazy. I think like this game is early access, and that's why I didn't want to touch. I'm like, no, I've been burdened by early access before. It's
Yeah.
only a handful of
Yeah.
games that I'll actually touch, and like a lot of them are indie devs that I want to support, and these guys are indie devs. I mean, there's literally 5 of them, which it still blows my mind. But this game is it's so polished for something that looks so kind of crude. Because someone said it looks like something you play in like PlayStation 2. You get these higher polygon characters, but like the textures are kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
But it adds to this charm, and like I don't think that really makes a difference. Like it can eat up your CPU, like your processing, I think, or your video card. It'll be working. Like my computer's chugging along. My frame rate's crap, but I don't care. I'm used to it because my computer.
If you're in town, frame rate drops in half right now because we all have castles.
Yeah,
It's pretty nuts. But away from town, I get a smooth 60.
this game, man. Like I think what makes it for me is not so much the graphics, but the lighting.
Oh yeah.
Because you get different weather. First, it's sunny, right? Beautiful day, and you're in the meadows. All the grass is coming up, and there's trees around, and you can see, and like it looks hot, like it's just the way the light's shining off the ground and stuff. Then the next thing you know, it's really foggy, and you can only see like within like 15 feet of yourself, and you're like, oh, crap, and you're just like, oh shit, it's foggy again, and you're dreading it, and you're like, this is way like it gives you this sense of unease, and then the fog turns into like this tsunami of rain and waves and stuff, and the water coming in. Like it'll just as soon come in or disappear. It'll last a day or something like that. But like, it gives you this change every time. So like, just outside your house, even like you can barely see anything. And I think it's just insane because you'll be hunting in the middle of the woods, and next thing you know, it's just torrential rain coming down or fog, and you can't see anything. And it's just this whole like the ambiance that comes from the entire environment around you. That's what makes it for me for. Like graphics wise and stuff like that, I get lost in it, and I'm just like, this is so cool to see.
Absolutely. And it's crazy how it's like this game is like 1 gigabyte. Which was like what? When I went to buy it on Steam, I was like, am I getting the right game? And yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the way that they do it with it being like low texture and everything. Like it was just like, I cannot believe this is 1 gigabyte. And it's like, and you talking about the weather, especially like the torrential rain, like the physics in this game are so interesting because the very first time I was in a storm like that, I was in the Black Forest, and it was like, okay,
Yeah.
so it's really coming down, and the trees are shaking because the wind is blowing so
Yeah.
hard. I was worried that a tree was going to come down on me because you can definitely kill people in the game with trees.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're chopping down a tree. There are tree physics. It's a thing that exists in the game. And it's like, if you chop a tree down on somebody, they're going to get hurt, probably really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I've died to trees, like just chopping trees and minding your own business. Next thing you know, like it's hilarious. You'll chop a tree and say, for argument's sake, you hit it 6 times, and all of a sudden it just, and you'll see it, and no tree falls down the same way. You can't.
There's no predicting it.
Yeah, you can't plan for it. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to hit it from this angle or this side and it'll fall down. No, one time it'll fall over away from you. Another time it'll fall towards you. Other times it will spin in place like a top before it comes down, and then knock down like 4 trees around it. Like it's hilarious to see. That's the one of the few reminders is like this is still in early access.
Well, I've died more to trees than trolls in the game so far.
Yeah.
Like,
And one of the guys put a troll head on a pike because you can get a troll trophy and put it outside of Jake's house because Jake was having so much trouble with trolls. So after him like taking like 4 days break from the game because he's like, I can't do this. I've been up till 3 a.m.
So I
Next
saw
thing
it
he logs in.
outside the house. I see like this blue thing outside my house. I didn't know what it was. So when I walked in and go up 3 floors, right? Because I got a 5-story house, so that's fancy. Humble brag.
Fancy. Yeah, that's great.
But I'm walking up the stairs and I turn around a corner, and in the window, all I see is the face of a troll. It's at the window. It was really funny.
It's just like there's so much you can do in this game, and you want to get lost and just shoot. It's so much fun. You get left behind. Yeah, Mitch is God mode. That's fine, but at the same time, like everybody can have a place in there. You want to build stuff. You can help someone. Like the Sandwich Pope himself keeps on logging in and building like this great wall.
Oh, that giant wood wall? That was him?
Yeah.
That thing's amazing. It's huge.
And I'll just like literally fill a cart with like 2 tons worth of wood and just leave it at his house. So when he logs in, he doesn't have to do it.
That's awesome.
So I'm just like, I just like doing that because I just want to see what he builds because that's all he's done. I don't think he's gone on any adventures with us. He just kind of comes in when he can, plays the game, builds some stuff, goes off. And I just like seeing what people do. So I'm just like, you want wood? Oh, I got you covered. I'm your man. But yeah, it's just one of these games. Like it's not for everyone, obviously. But if you enjoyed Minecraft at all, you should give it a try. If you like Terraria, this is like 3D Viking Terraria because of that sense of progression. There's more progression in fighting bosses and stuff like that. Minecraft is a lot more open. Rust is a lot more open. And Rust is definitely an online experience with like other players because you're usually trying to kill each other.
Yeah, forget roguelikes. I want the survival Viking simulators, please. Give me more of that genre.
Yeah, so I can't suggest it enough. It's great,
Same
especially
here.
for the price. It's
Same here, and I mean, I know you're saying, and you're 100% correct. Like, I mean, if you like games like Minecraft, Terraria, Rust, I mean, this seems like a good fit. But like, see, I'm from the other side where it's like I don't really enjoy those kinds of games so much, but I enjoy this game a lot because I get other vibes from it too. Like I get Breath of the Wild vibes. I get Skyrim vibes, and I get like even like World of Warcraft vibes from this game because like it straight up is like this game has been scratching an MMO itch that I like always have, you know.
Yeah.
And like this game like really satisfies that desire where it's like, man, this is like MMO enough for me to like feel that good feel.
Yeah, and there's like a sense of accomplishment too, like because MMO was just like, okay, let's go to the raid and go on this. And next thing you know, by the time you end up getting all the raiding stuff done, it's like, okay, now a new expansion's coming out and you got to start over again.
Right.
This one, it's a whole lot more like there's an end point,
Mm-hmm.
and you can work towards it, or you can just screw off and build stuff. So that's what I like about it.
And you change the world, right?
Right. Yes, that's what I was just about to say. It's persistent, and that's really neat.
Yeah, like you look at the village that we started in. Like, I mean, I came later than you guys, and it's still only like 5 houses spread out. But now you join the server, you look at it, there's, I think, 10, 12 buildings closely together. We have a proper town at this point. I was even saying we should build a road officially because it's nice what we built, even if it does lag.
I get down into single digits every time I go towards everybody's houses when it comes to frame rate. I didn't mind. I turned down the textures down to minimum just because I was like, I'm not sacrificing the lighting and stuff like that because that's what I loved about it so much.
The lighting's amazing.
I don't care how low my frame rate is. Like, I'm just used to it being choppy on my computer because my computer's potato. But it's even with like the choppiness, I don't care. It still keeps me immersed and it still keeps me just like, it's so much fun to explore. And next thing you know, you're just like, why does this look familiar? And you realize you're just out in the woods behind your own house. It's just so easy to get lost. If there wasn't a map, oh my God, that's all I can say. Like,
I don't know, man. Sometimes even with the map, the world's so big. I mean, that's another thing about the game. It's like the world is huge.
It's massive.
Like, man, like I like granted, like I've only got like 40 hours in the game, but I mean, still, I've got 40 hours into the game, and guys, like this is not an exaggeration. I probably have 1% of the map uncovered.
If you're being generous, to be honest.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fun when you get somebody in and for the first time they're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," and they start running around a bit, and it's like, "Have you zoomed out on the map?" No. All of, all of a sudden, you just hear, "Holy shit!" It's just like, "Have you zoomed out?" No. Press M. Okay. Now zoom out on the map. Holy shit! And it's just like, and the best part is you zoom out all the way and you just see like just the planet in space
Yep.
kind of thing.
I was
Yep.
worried, like when I first started playing, thinking, well, there's dungeons, but they don't repopulate. So I figure all the stuff would be gone. And that's kind of true. But the map is so big, you just pick a direction and sail for 5-10 minutes, and you're finding something that nobody's touched. And it's yours
Yeah.
if you want it. Or you get a group together and you go somewhere new together. Like, there's just so much to explore, you're not going to run out. And if you do, make a new server, right? That's the great thing with this game, is that your character is persistent, but that you can go between different maps if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's something I think you got to play with friends if you want to play it. Like I know I was trying to get one of my other friends to play it, and he's like, "No, man, I'm just a solo guy," and I understand that, but I can't get into it myself because I think the experience for me is experiencing it with others, and that's the coolest thing about it.
And it's neat because like I do both, because there are definitely times where I just kind of want to chill and like listen to a podcast or some music or watch a movie on the second monitor and just kind of just chill and not really interact a bunch, but still, play passively. But then like I also have the option of being like, okay, I'm jumping into the voice channel. I'm gonna see what people are getting into. I'm gonna get involved, and so it's nice because you can kind of it's like the best of both worlds.
I haven't experienced this in a long time. Like it felt like the same thing, like getting addicted to Minecraft when I first played it. Same thing with Terraria. I just kind of just I can't get enough of it. I want more. I want more. So yeah, I definitely check it out. Who's this made by? I don't even know. I've been playing this so much, and I don't even know who's by.
Hold on, I got to pay Steam up here. Steam is like, you've played 59 hours. Do you recommend it? Yeah. Iron Gate AB. That's who's made the game. 5-person studio, totally indie. And I've been burned on early access stuff lately. But Valheim, like this and 30XX are the 2 early access games I've been playing, and I can't believe the value and how polished they are for an early game.
Now, I'm not trying to drag this out, and this is totally off topic, but I am absolutely curious what early access games you've been burned on recently because I want to avoid them.
Hold on. Let me dig it up here.
We gotta dig up the dirt.
I got to pull it up. Like BattleCon was one. I love that's a fantastic Street Fighter inspired card game,
Ooh,
and there's a
okay.
digital version of it, and it's an early access, and it died. It kind of is being it's not canceled, but it hasn't been updated in a year.
Oof.
So that was one that's really hurt me recently. Dead Cells I had a bad experience with in early access. I liked the game a lot, but because I played it in early access when it was not finished, it kind of ruined it for me, and that there wasn't a lot of content. So now when I play the final version, I feel like I've done everything, even though I know I haven't, but I've been overexposed to that roguelike hook of it, I guess. So those are 2 where I kind of burnt out.
I need to finish that game still. I started it and liked it, and then I never finished it for whatever reason. I think the Messenger came out or something, and I switched.
I beat it once.
Nice.
And I was so proud of myself. And then someone told me, said, yeah, they consider that the tutorial to the game, so you're just getting started. And I was like, nope.
Nope.
And I haven't gone back to it since. I'm like, this game is great and it was worth its money, but yeah, I was like, no, I can't do it.
No, I see credits, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I keep joking about games that don't respect the player's time. Right? Like, I'm at the point where I can't sit down and play like a JRPG anymore. As much as I love them a lot of the time, I just can't spend 50, 60 hours in a JRPG. But meanwhile, Valheim, 60 hours, time I don't have as I'm up to 3 a.m. playing it. But it really captures it.
I could totally relate to that. Like like that happens to me all the time too. Cause I'm the same way. I'm like, I can't play Persona 5. I don't have
Yeah.
120 hours that I can put into a game. And meanwhile, if I look on like how much time I put into Hades, it's like 120 hours. So it's like,
Yeah, totally.
well, I guess I'm just a big liar.
Yeah. It just goes to show that like games like Valheim and Hades too, I can play for 20, 30 minutes or I can play for 5 hours and I still feel like I did something. I still had fun with it.
Yep.
Right? I don't feel like I'm grinding anything.
Yep, absolutely. And you can pretty much like unless you're in the middle of something, because like Valheim is one of those games where it's like everything's like this emergent narrative, you know? Like there's really no quests
Yes.
or anything like that. It's just the narrative is just the stuff that happens around you and you kind of like deal with that and that leads and flows into something else and then that jumps onto something else and it just kind of keeps going. But like the beauty of that is since there's no real storyline or like quest that's been written, you can stop playing it at any time, really. Like you could just be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
done for now. And then you can just pick it back up later.
and that's the like it's very organic in that way where you
Mm-hmm.
can actually sit down and put it down, come back to it, and not feel like, oh crap, I need to start over because I forget where I left off.
Yeah.
That's what I do with like a lot of
Oh yeah.
role playing games and that. I just didn't know where I left off, so I'm like, oh crap, I'm just it's easier for me to start over.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that in this. You can just look at your inventory and say, I need food. Go get food.
Uh-huh.
You know, after not playing for a week straight, it's like, okay, that's fine. And you can go off and be, oh, I was going to do this, and you can go do that. You know, there's no penalty for taking your time in this game.
Yeah. See, Assassin's Creed Origins is a game I picked up last year, and I have fallen off it like 3-4 times because it's the same idea. I'll play it for a couple days. I'm away for a week. I come back to it, and I just forgot or can't remember what I've done at that point, and I want to start over again. And I'll just never finish that game. Right?
Right.
I just feel like you have to finish it in one sitting, or otherwise you're missing out. Valheim doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking something to zone out, this is the kind of game you want. Be careful. Disclaimer is that like, oh yeah, 8 hours later, it's like, oh crap, I need to sleep. But it's in the best way, I think. Like the value for your money. This is something to really look into.
We gotta say, so zone out, relaxing, peaceful, all that, and then you get the boss, that deer boss, and it breaks out into like, was it metal, Viking
Yeah.
metal
Yeah.
as the boss music? That
Yeah.
was freaking amazing. The storm is going. It's just atmosphere for sure. This game nailed the atmosphere.
If you're playing and you're about to take on the boss for the first time, or you have friends that you're playing with, make sure that they have the game music on too, because that just is like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. So that's what happens. You're like, oh, the music starts going into like this crazy epic metal with with some trumpets blaring, and they're like, oh crap. So then you realize shit's going down.
I love it. And it's like I've only fought 2 of the bosses, but like I'm so glad I got excited there because I was like, oh, we've got to talk about the bosses. Like I've only fought 2 bosses and it's like the bosses are really cool because it's like
Yeah.
and you summon them, they're like trophies that are required for you to sacrifice and like or whatever. You lay them down at the altar and then the boss gets summoned. This god gets summoned. And so yeah, the deer god you're talking about was incredible because it's like he's got this like lightning ball attack where he just kind of surrounds himself with lightning, but like the worst thing about him was he's kicking down trees and knocking down trees with his antlers, and it's like, oh my god. And then it's like the other boss that we fought, the tree god, the elder, where it's like this was like straight up like maybe where it kind of like feels WoW or World of Warcraft like to me is because it's like you kind of need to like coordinate and like don't step on the thorns that he summons and like dodge
Don't stand
the
in the fire.
vines. Yeah, right. Don't stand in the fire. So I don't know. It's very, very cool, and I'm glad that they did that. But it's like it's not like it doesn't feel like the major focus of the game, so it always feels like fun to participate in a boss fight, even if I've already fought that boss like 3 times already. It's like someone needs to kill the elder. All right, let's go. Let's do it. It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's fun either way to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we went and did I just did the second and third boss in one night the other day to catch up. And the second boss, I was scoping it out because I wanted to build a bed some nearby because I knew I was going to die because I'm not good at these games. But I was just scoping up around where the altar was, and you can tell you guys fought him before because there's busted trees and rocks all around that area. And I didn't quite realize why until I fought him, and his attacks are wild and just destroys the scenery.
Ooh, I haven't fought that one yet. I'm like, on one hand, I'm like really looking forward to it. On the other hand, I'm scared to death. So
I played on another server the other night and we were playing and we took out the third boss. But it turned out to be basically one of us was face tanking the whole time, never died. Meanwhile, me and another guy died 4 times, and we barely did any damage. We were fighting this single boss for over an hour.
Oh my god,
which is crazy. And it was just that one dude just basically holding his own until he realized what his weaknesses were, and then he was doing it like basically himself. We couldn't even get close to him because we were trying to get our bodies back, Dark Souls style. Go back and run to get your body so you can get all your gear.
Yeah.
So it was intense. We'll put it that way.
I went through 200 arrows on that boss.
Oh my
Like
god!
I don't have good ones. I only had flint and some fire arrows, but 200 arrows. And then after that, I just started whacking it with my mace and dying.
Man, do you like? Okay, so do you guys have a favorite weapon in the game? Because I totally do.
Mine, anything blunt is my favorite, but I use the arrows for everything first, and then anything close quarters is always like the stag breaker is like this giant elk head that you use for a mace or for like a hammer and smash the ground around you, and it takes like a third of your stamina to swing every time. That's my favorite.
Yeah, so for me, I like the idea of the dagger, mainly because it has a special attack where you leap forward and just wail on somebody, and it does a ton of damage with that attack.
Huh.
But it's too much stamina, and outside of that special attack and stealth, it's useless, so I don't use it anymore. My favorite weapon, though, are pole arms, because it has an AoE attack, it has the reach, looks cool. The pole arms are a lot of fun to use.
Man, I gotta try all these weapons out. I didn't even like. I don't think I've ever used a dagger before. That kind of like sneak attack kind of thing appeals to me, but I feel you on losing the stamina. I've really just been sticking with the bows. I love it, and like I love the physics of the arrows, and I love like what I love like how it feels. It's very satisfying to use the bow and arrow, but what I hate about it is we were talking about earlier how like it's a real shame that you have to use so much copper and tin to make bronze. Because like that, like like so on top of that, I'm going through bronze like crazy making arrows. So it's
I can't do it. It's a waste of bronze, or at least where I'm at now.
No, bronze arrows are great. Like
are they?
Yeah, dude. It's like, and like at least for me, they are. Like I don't know. You guys might be able to make iron by now. I don't know, but like the bronze, like I could never go back because I was using flaming arrows for a while. And it's like the first time I killed a troll with bronze arrows, it was like, there's no going back from this. Because it was like 1, 2, 3, 4 shots and the troll was dead. And it's like, hell yes.
Shit, I gotta try that then.
The bronze arrows apparently do as much damage as the fire arrows, but they do it all in one go. Because you have that damage take from the fire.
I see.
So it's basically fire. It's like a fire arrow all in one shot. So
gotcha,
like I'm using an iron mace right now, and I still have trouble with trolls. So usually I default to the bow. The bow is like a great weapon in this game.
I love
even the shitty bow. You start out with the crude bow, and the drop off for that is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you start getting good at that, and by the time you get a new one, you feel like an expert. So it's just like first off, your bow skills with just goes up. Not bow skills like Napoleon Dynamite, but like with a bow and arrow. By the time you get like a good bow and you're not using the crude bow anymore, you feel like a master of it because your skills gone up and you actually have experience and you know how much to drop off to take into account. You don't have to lead the shots as much, and so when you get a new bow, you're just like, I am all that is man.
And it's like you can also like I've also like invested a bunch of upgrades in bows too, because I made like the fine bow and then upgraded it like 3 times or whatever. So it's like I'm putting everything in the bows that I can.
Yeah, you got to kill them next somehow.
Well, the first time you kill 2 deer like with back to back, you feel like Legolas from
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, like a total
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned shooting deer with the bow because, like, dude, it is so satisfying. Like when you shoot a deer with a bow, it explodes, and
Yeah.
that sounds ridiculous, but it totally makes sense in the world. But it's still just like it's still satisfying, where it's just like I killed the shit out of that deer. Uh,
Yeah.
Oh, and man, and that's so satisfying because those things are always just like the deer sounds in this game are ridiculous. They're cranked up to 11.
They sound like somebody just like screaming in agony, but at the same time, one thing that always stands out is there's this one specific noise they make that always makes me think of Simon from Super Castlevania 4, where he sounds like he's getting hit, and it's like a really abrupt thing, and it almost sounds like it gets cut off because it's like, oh,
Oh no.
and,
I'm going to hear that every time now.
oh, dude,
Game ruined.
Unplayable.
you're gonna hear it. You're gonna be like, oh, damn it,
Yep.
there's a deer.
The deer make that noise. Meanwhile, the trolls will sneak right behind you with a club or a log.
Totally.
Yeah, the ground will be shaking when they're around, but somehow they still manage to sneak up on you without you noticing.
Have you guys ever noticed a troll like sniffing?
No?
Like, okay, so I've been working on sneak before, and like I'm like, I don't know, maybe the sneak raise faster when you're like hiding from more dangerous creatures. So like I was sneaking up on this troll and I was watching it real careful, right? Because I wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna swing a tree at me. So like I'm creeping up and like so stealth, like everything else in the game, takes up stamina. So my stamina's getting low. So it's like, oh damn it. So I like hide behind a boulder, right? And it's like, okay, I need to stop stealthing so I can get my stamina back up. So I switch out of stealth and I'm hiding behind this boulder. The troll is facing away from me and I see him just look up and just start sniffing the air and I'm like, "Oh god, I'm so dead." And like he's sniffing and then he like looks over his shoulder towards my direction and is sniffing and it's like, I got to get back into stealth mode. I don't know if that's going to help me or not. But I switched and it just slinked away. I mean, it was like that's like that emergent narrative. Like that in itself was just like that one time that troll smelled me.
Yeah, and this game is just full of that, like those experiences, and they're like all these personal ones that you can talk about, and that hasn't happened to me, but you get the same kind of feeling from something else entirely. And again, that like you said, emergent narrative just nails it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that emergent gameplay is so hard to get right. And I gotta wonder if this, for a 5-person dev team, how much of this was like on purpose, or how much was just they had the right ingredients and it just happened to roll the way together to be this awesome.
Yeah, either way, now I want to go play it. So, yeah, Dave, thanks again for being here with us, man. Might as well wrap it up here so we can get our fix.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me back on. I love talking to you guys. Yeah, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's great having you. So, where can people find more of you? Let's tell us about your stream and for the podcast.
Well, you can find me on Valheim. Not as much as I would like to. I'm also you can find the podcast that I do called Tadpog. Tyler and Dave play old games. Me and my friend Tyler, we play old games. And you can find that like on Spotify, on iTunes, and all that stuff. And then I stream. I've been trying to do Friday nights and Sunday nights on Twitch at Tadpog_podcast.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, we'll make sure to have that posted in the links too, so you can find it even easier for anybody listening.
Sweet. Thank you.
No problem. And Jake, how about, can we find you anywhere?
Well, I was all great with the streaming 2-3 days a week, and then Valheim happened.
Man, I wish I could stream it.
I know. I can't either. My computer can't run it that good.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm on Twitch and Twitter, SICJAKE.
Cool. And I'm Pulse109. You can find me every now and then doing random bullshit on Twitch at PALSH109 over at twitch.tv. So everybody, thank you for listening. Dave, again, thanks for having us here. And you want to meet me in Valheim?
I'm down.
All right, so one more thing. Everybody, thank you for listening. If you'd like to check us out and support us, not only by listening, but if you'd like to help monetarily, check out Press B to Cancel Patreon at patreon.com/pressb to cancel. Podcasting isn't free. We do have to pay for hosting, and any monetary donations definitely help us produce more content, keep things rolling, and help us improve in the future. We will find ways to use the money for good. I promise it won't be for evil. But anyways, if you want to hear us, we do monthly commentary for some movies, and if you want to just check that out, watch along. Basically, we just like shooting the shit, and I'd love to have you listen in, watch the movie while we're watching it, and just enjoy it. So thank you, everybody, and appreciate it. Keep on rocking. Special thanks for music go to Arthur the Last Ancient on Spotify or The Last Ancient on Bandcamp. For more episodes, please visit our website at pressbtocancel.com. And also, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. As always, thank you. This has been
Press B to cancel.
Press B to cancel.